either. Like,
Alright guys,
throwing competitions is a very fine line of what
Hitman
looks like you're throwing
2.
and what doesn't.
We started this new mission.
At the point she fell,
we only
I
have
know
2
there's
missions
been
left in the
some
game. I did
blowback,
confirm that
at least
since
a
the
little
last
bit in the
episode. I
house
did look
about,
up.
oh, she's,
so yeah, this is the penultimate mission.
Oh, she
in the game.
never wins, and then there's, oh, she's useless. And that's kind of a thing that she's battling here at the moment. But as a viewer, I'm loving the fake tears, and I really think that she had the correct read that she did not need to win this and was going to be okay for the most part.
Yeah, Taryn, was it, did she throw it, or did she
we
fall
are very
and then
close
did
to finishing this game at this point.
that she was more upset that she didn't win?
So she did mention to Bailey that the only person she was worried about winning HOH was David. So she was planning on throwing the HOH competition. She just wanted to make sure David was going to win. So I was expecting her to wait until David dropped and then drop herself. But she drops pretty early. I don't have any reason to fully not believe that she threw this one, but I do disagree with the move for her to throw this HOH. I do not think she was in a position to throw it. I think there are a lot of scenarios where she could have been somebody who goes home this week, and I don't know that she knows that, but they definitely exist.
Whatever.
And on top of that, she needs to start winning things. She needs to start getting some traction, some power in the game, if she wants to move things in her favor and not be at the behest
Sunday
of
night.
everyone else.
I did work today. Not that much though. I was able to before work. I was able to finish my
but also, I mean, I was just going into this
my rewatch of the Australian Outback plus all the notes and everything. So I was able to do that. I just need to actually write the script. Which the plan is to do that tomorrow.
So I was just kind of upset that she
I also want to finish Hitman here within the next couple days, have it done by Wednesday. We should still be on pace for that, again considering we only have 2 missions left. The problem is, though, is that turns out I'm actually going to be busy tomorrow and Tuesday morning.
I was just kind of disappointed.
So, I won't be able to record in the mornings, but again, we should still be able to get it done. But also means I won't be able to record my, the plan for tomorrow was to record my final juror ranking. I will not be able to do that tomorrow. The earliest I'm going to be able to really do that is probably Wednesday. Even then, I don't know if I really want to do it then, but we'll see.
Taryn, was Nicole, I would think that she would be a little happier. Is this fallout from sort of the love triangle stuff?
Well, I mean, Nicole also feels very safe in the game. She's but she has not been happy with Danny. That morning of the HOH competition, she was comparing some notes with Cody about things that Danny was saying to both of them, and she said about Danny, ultimate betrayal, that Danny would be trying to be Cody's number one and her number one, and trying to tell Cody things before she had a chance to, so that Danny would be closer to Cody than she was, and she was very unhappy about that. So she was unhappy about that. She also that night later was talked to about the Ian situation. So Nicole had a lot of reasons to not be happy.
Yes. When you said ultimate betrayal, I thought she must have jumped up and scared her. But that's the ultimate betrayal in the Big Brother house.
Yeah, well, being led into the scare, I think, is the real betrayal.
Yeah, okay. All right, so we see Danny with Davon. Tells Davon, you can relax. That Davon, you are not going up on the block this week, so that Davon doesn't have to worry about going out back-to-back with Bailey. But Davon talks with David and asks, how close are you with Danny? Not close.
Yeah, not good. When I look at this, it's like based on everything we've seen so far, and we know that there's stuff between Danny and Tyler have both targeted each other. But besides that, it seems very clear that, at least from the audience perspective, you've got 4 people who are more on the outs than everyone else. You've got Davon, David, Kevin, and Ian. And the 4 of them are the least connected. And I thought it was very interesting how this episode edited and showed or didn't show each of them and their different sort of sides. You got a lot of Kevin, obviously worried about going up. David is so into his power that he's not even looking at the bigger picture of oh, I'm not good with these people, I don't have a game plan. It's fine though, because I have a power and I can save myself this 1 week. So, keeping everything just one step at a time, focused on this one bit.
Yeah.
And he's playing, the most masterful game of hiding the fact that he has this power from anyone. He doesn't need allies. Why share?
Do you feel that David played this in a way because he wants to go up on the block so he gets the chance to flex the disruptor power?
I mean, I feel like if you're going to do that, you do that on the last week that you can use it, right? Like, if that was truly his MO, it's just going to waste this week. I just feel like he understands, or not even that he understands, because he's so frustrating to watch. I've just had to make comedy out of it. He's just rolling with the punches, and if he gets thrown up, he's going to play it. But he's really committed to the bit, so...
I think the move is, if you know that you're going to go up on the block, you have nothing left to lose at that point. You say to the HOH, look, I've got a power. I can protect somebody on the block. I can only use it for 1 more week after this one. If you don't put me up, I will use my power to save you next week if you need it.
That's what Cody and Jessica tried to do with the whole halting hex thing. Like, it doesn't always work, but you might as well try. All of my notes are so much all caps of people who... There's, the people who don't really know they're on the bottom, but then you've got Kevin and David who are being used as pawns or even potential targets over and over and over. At this point, it's week 6. You've got nothing to lose. Stop trying to just stay safe 1 week at a time. Go ahead and, talk to the HOH that you have a power. Kevin, when Danny says they might put you up, fight it hard. And even if it looks like you're still going to go up anyway, if people are so... Sorry, they're telling me to turn the caps off. Mary, in the chat. People
I thought you were so animated that was like a figurative, like, hey, turn the caps off, Mary, we can hear you fine.
Yeah, but I just think, at this point, instead of trying to stay safe 1 week at a time and just not be, be the pawn and not the actual target, when you know that you're the pawn over and over, you know that you don't actually have a game relationship with these people, and you need to find something, but you lost all your allies already. It's just frustrating.
And this is the perfect example of David is just playing checkers in a game of chess. He's just getting outplayed and outmaneuvered, and he thinks that he's doing something, but it's not working. He's not pulling anything on anyone.
The only season David watched was season 21, and this is a move that was made in season 21. Christy and Cliff made a deal that was beneficial to them both, that developed a relationship between the two of them, that stemmed from the power, and it allowed Christy to retain her power and have it for longer. So,
but was he still watching then?
He watched, I mean, he knows about what happened in the season. So I don't think he took notes or anything, but
Okay. We're gonna see Danny working with Devon about what do you want to do? And Devon has a plan. Oh, I got it. How about Tyler and Christmas? Well, let's put Tyler up on the ball. How about that? What do you think about that plan, Danny? So, played so hard last time. I don't think I could do it. Okay.
Now it is. Wow, we actually got
talk that through in terms of from Danny's perspective. She's a little scarred from the Big Brother 13 big move. She doesn't want to necessarily do that here.
Right, and I mean, what does that do for her in the long run? I think that Christmas isn't necessarily somebody that she needs to burn right now. Even Tyler, I wouldn't say is somebody that she needs to burn right now. And so it seems just like they've backed themselves into this corner where Kevin and David are realistically the only two easy options, and we can talk about how optically that looks. But she doesn't really.
Did I not kill Janice?
Anything else?
Oh fuck! I'm a fucking idiot. I could have sworn I killed him.
But help ruin the perception that she's running this game that she's sitting on right now. She feels
okay,
so
well then I'm
confident
fucked.
where she's sitting.
I could have sworn I killed him.
And I think putting Christmas or even Tyler up for the initial nominations would do that.
All right, Danny is going to need to talk to Cody about what's going on, and Danny floats.
So I killed the guy next to him, but I didn't kill him.
We should maybe Let's talk about Tyler. What should we do about Tyler? Maybe put him on the block, and Cody follows in the footsteps of Julie Chen Moonves, because this is what Cody has to say.
Put him on the block. Just kidding.
Kidding.
I'm kidding.
Don't put Tyler on the block.
Yeah. This is portrayed pretty accurately here. Cody's a lot of influence over what Danny decides to do. And as he explained, it is not in his best interest for Tyler to go home, let alone touch the block. So he is essentially saying, do not put Tyler up. And he wants to be as light as possible with this touch, and so he's saying, okay, well, maybe we'll consider some kind of future backdoor plan, unaware of the fact that when David goes up, he will have a disruptor power, and Danny will have to make another choice on the spot. He does not realize that he needs to defend Tyler against that, so we're going to have to see where that goes.
Okay. We go to commercial, then we come back, and then we go right into the pranking Cody bit. And Cody it was very funny, but Cody gets very mad about this. I feel like this really was not a great move for Devon to be the accomplice to lure Cody into a trap.
Well, it wasn't good for Devon with Cody, but it was probably pretty good for Devon with Danny, helping her. We scared her. We bond. You know, you ultimately betrayed him, and I ultimately betrayed him. We're tied now, the two of us. Let's take out Cody. But look, it's not great. Let's just, pranks are fun, but never great strategy. Tara's gonna come at me with like the most brilliant prank in the BB history that was great strategy.
Yes, here it is. I'm waiting for Danny to start talking about how Mike Booger once said that you can bounce checks in the Big Brother house, which is why it's okay that she's going to do a move this week, because she won a wall competition. She is putting up people on the block that aren't necessarily beneficial to her game, but are useful for other people. Now she's doing scare pranks. It's like I'm watching James Hewling again. Are we in...
Next she's going to run for mayor.
Are we prepared for a mayoral candidate run? Are we prepared for America's favorite player, Danny, over the Davon Mack? Where are we going with all this?
I don't know. She hasn't been talking about Taylor Swift enough for that, I don't think.
Wait till Wednesday when she comes back to the CMAs on CBS. Christian, what do you think about the cost benefits analysis for Devon? On the plus side, she bonds with Danny. On the downside, she is an accomplice to scare Cody, and Cody's like, oh, she tricked me.
Yeah, and I mean, this is just evidence that Cody can use for his confirmation bias whenever he gets HOH or in power again, where he's like, I don't trust Devon. She's pulling tricks in the house, so I'm just going to put her up or put her in a place of danger. I'm just going to throw her under the bus. So I feel just because it's more likely that Cody's going to come back into power than Danny, that it might not have been the best. But again, it's a little prank.
Okay, what about this? What if
Cody wasn't actually mad. He was not actually like, I don't know if we're doing a bit here.
Look, this could be our only real interesting bit of strategy from the episode. What about this? What if Devon had told Cody about the prank, but then told him not to care, and now she's good with both of them?
That's smart. I like that. Very nice. Kevin had a lot of airtime in this episode. There was a lot of Kevin segments leading up to Kevin going up on the block. Kevin had a very interesting segment where he's talking in the kitchen about how he hopes that he is making the LGBTQ community proud. And I thought this was an interesting conversation. And he tells us in the diary room about this actually had to do with the reason he wanted to be on Big Brother.
I became obsessed with Big Brother because of the representation this show has offered.
So, because the show does such a good job with representation? I just wanted to make sure I understood the quote right.
Well, this is over 10 years ago, Rob.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
early days, Big Brother probably was
They were
like
doing
We got through it.
a little
They
bit
were
ahead
good?
of the pack.
Yeah.
The problem is that they've about stayed there for 20 years. So
Yeah.
that's where we've gone downhill a bit.
Okay. Very interesting segment. Great to get Kevin's perspective on that. It's just I was like, wait, hold on a second. That this seemed like really very, very positive in terms of the 20-year history of the show.
Yeah, it's very much Big Brother telling itself, like, back in the day, we were at protests all the time. Now we're sitting in our, big mansion, but then we were such great social animals. We're such great people.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about Tyler and Danny. And Tyler,
Okay.
I don't know, Mary, that is
So I'm moving a bit closer now.
that Tyler has overall, and I think that it is confusing if you are Danny. Like, what is he doing? Where he's basically like, is he basically quitting again? Of if you put me up, I won't be mad. You can do whatever you want.
And that
I
is no
deserve
one
what I
casting
did last week. It's almost like
Both targets are confirmed
is
killed.
kind of not playing. I think that's very
And parents talk about this some of the morning updates, but I actually really like this play. I think it kind of touches a couple things. There's definitely the side of Tyler that has at times in this game been checked out, been wanting to go home, been wanting to quit.
Okay, so we still need to get those
So,
surveillance
I think
tapes.
At some point, if you reach that, at least, maybe some days you feel good about playing the game, some days you don't. But if you reach a point where you're okay going home, then you've kind of got nothing to lose. So you can use it as strategy, but you can also use it as an out of telling yourself, telling other people, telling the show, if this doesn't work out, it's okay because I kind of wanted this. At the same time, the strategy element to it is no one does this. This isn't a common thing of, oh, hey, I totally deserve it. Yep, I got you last week. Put me up on the block. I deserve it. It's in some ways, it's a very, like, logical, it's a game, it's fine, I'm okay with it, I deserve it kind of way, which can confuse people. I've said in the past that this is something you sometimes see on Survivor when someone has an idol, for example, that they start to seem a little comfortable when they should be, maybe some people are trying to get them out, but they think they're being sneaky about it, and they're like, did it leak? Do they have an idol? Because they seem too comfortable, they seem too safe. Let's instead vote for someone else and not vote for this person, because when you are safe, or when you're going home, sometimes playing that up and telling everyone, oh, it's fine, I understand if you vote for me, I'm going home, people are going to think you might have a power, that you might feel safe. Does he have the votes? Why does he feel so comfortable going up? And it's hard for really hardcore gamers to just believe it, see it at face value and believe, oh, because they might be okay going home or they want to quit. So it can be a good thing to do. I don't recommend it like every single time, but if you are genuinely somewhat okay going home, I do, or you really, really know you're on the bottom, go ahead and throw everything at the wall.
Is there a strategic element to this, or he just doesn't care?
No, I think he cares. He does not want to be.
Ah, fuck. Fuck.
Last week he was full tilt. He was on full tilt. He was I just want to go home, and now I'm not going home, like whatever. He's still kind of recovering from that. He's still kind of in that like post-tilt haze of like, I guess I'm trying again, but I'm still pretty like, I'm a bit numb to it all right now. And so I think he's sort of playing on that level. And I agree with Mary. I don't mind this sort of like, hey, throw me up there, I deserve it, because I think it's better that he's addressing the fact that
Both targets are confirmed
like
killed.
trying to hide it, like
All that remains
like
now
trying
is
to
to
pretend
find
it didn't happen,
the
or
information
to be like, oh, I will never do that to you again, and then leave you, like
Okay, fuck off. Why are any of these guys dead?
like he needs to change his behavior, because if he does
Damn
the
it.
same thing he did last time, she's gonna go through the same motions in her head of like, oh, this is what you did last time, and you betrayed me last time. That said, I don't love how he's handled her overall, because working on this relationship more, although I don't mind the approach.
Okay, Christian, can you talk to us a little bit about what you've observed from Tyler over this last, 7 or 8 days in the house, from this initial decision to I want to go home to where he is now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so hard to watch, especially in this past week, because Tyler went from being in a really good position in the game, and then you just saw him feel so bad for bailing Davon to the point where he was like, I'm ready to go. I'm going to check out. And he was really ready to go home, to see Angela again, to just get out of there. And then once Christmas shut it down, you can see the cogs turning again and him building back up the walls to be like, at least a little bit, because I'm going to be in the jury. And so I'm just imagining like all of the anxious thoughts that are playing around in Tyler's head of, one, how last week's move is being portrayed on the larger aspect of like Big Brother. It was
And that
like
is no
the community, but also now that
Both targets are confirmed killed.
knocked down not necessarily like the total like rock bottom, but he's still to have to go back up. So I was curious when he said that if he was grounded this like this because it wasn't a surprise to him. It wasn't. He almost volunteered.
Ah, fuck. What? I really died that quickly?
So did that take away Danny's game move in that moment? I think there's definitely.
Alright, so.
Behind it, but again, agreeing with
Damn
you,
it.
I don't think that he took it. I would love to see it.
Oh, we had it at that time.
Danny.
I like that element of the diffusing the blind side, right? Oh, it's not as fun to put me up if I see it coming. You're not going to get that big moment.
The problem is that we still need to get the clues. Like, the targets aren't hard
Like, he's
to
presenting
kill.
the option to her on his own terms. Like, you can do this. It won't be sexy. It won't be big. You could also not do this, and it wouldn't be a big deal. And when it's presented that way, and you also have other people saying, don't do it, it's not as appealing, I think.
Well, I just want to understand that why is this different and potentially better than when 2 weeks ago when Christmas told Enzo I would go up on the block as a pawn. Everybody said that that was a terrible move, but once you put yourself in that position of being somebody who would go up on the block, everybody will look at you as somebody who could be a pawn every single week, and everybody really didn't like that for Christmas game.
Well, a lot of this is also just perception of who you are in the house. I mean, in Christmas's particular example, she probably wasn't going on the block until she had said it. Tyler, 50-50 chance could be going on the block if someone gets, well, someone's definitely going to get pulled off with David. So he, he's had this disagreement with Danny, and he already knows that that's out there as well. So knowing that he could, and even if Danny ran around telling everyone in the house, hey, he told me he would go up. He said that he would be fine with it.
Oh, that was such a bad shot.
Tried to backdoor him.
God damn it.
He okay with a backdoor, which is different than volunteering to be a pawn who's not the real target. They're still going to look at him as the target. He's still a target who's just, for some reason, okay with it.
Actually, let's see if we can just escape.
Let's talk about Danny with Kevin. And Danny's going to break the news to Kevin that he's going to go on the block, but don't worry. I will protect you. I will keep the votes and make sure that you stay. You won't be any danger.
Okay.
You're just the pawn.
So we have
Are you
killed both
okay with
targets.
this, Kevin?
We just need to get clues now.
Kevin tries to get out of this. He does not want to be the pawn.
He does an admirable job too. He
Still
talks a
can't
lot
save.
about, like, he reminds her that he's gonna be in the jury house, and he's talking about how upset he will be if he's in the jury house. His birthday is on Friday, I believe, and so the thought of being evicted Thursday, sitting in the jury house by himself on Friday, that would really suck, especially if a friend did it to me. He's in a very polite way, sort of being like, first of all, why would you do this to me? I'm on your side. Second of all, if you do this to me and I go home, I'm going to be bitter about it, but not in a way that's going to make you feel like I'm threatening you. And third, don't do this to me because I'm on your side. And he does, like I said, he does well. He does not prevent himself from being put on the block, but he does come away from this conversation making Danny feel like she's doing something she doesn't want to do. That he is on her side, and she might burn a jury vote by doing this. So why is she doing this? And she kind of feels like if she's nominating two of these people, Kevin's the one that she wants to keep around.
Yeah.
I might as well overwrite this save
that,
thing.
if he is the pawn, that he wants to make sure that it stays that way.
You would be able to secure that the pawn stays pawn.
The pawn stays pawn. That could be Kevin's new motto. Get the t-shirts ready.
No. What?
And the pawn stays pawn. Adios.
I do think he did a good job where, for once, the segments with Danny in the show talking about not wanting to put Kevin up came across much more genuine than they sometimes do. Sometimes it seems like, oh, it's the red herring, but he's still going to go up anyway, which did happen, but she definitely didn't want to. I just wonder, it's 6 weeks in, is it still too early, or is there any way he could have pitched, like, here's the group, here's the alliance, don't put me up, let's move forward, here's like a more lasting plan, instead of just, I'm here for you though, we're close, don't put me up.
I think, like, yeah, and the thing that interested me about Kevin's episode was, like, the dice where it was like,
Fuck, I need fucking weapons. God damn it.
Day in, like, this scenario, you can't even trust Day, so, like, really Kevin has nowhere to go, and he's just, like, pulling at small little threads to see what he can put together.
Taryn, I really enjoy Kevin. I took him in the draft. I have high hopes for Kevin this season. But what is Kevin's, like, in his mind, like, what is the best case scenario for how this season is unfolding? Like, what's his rose-colored glasses view of the house right now?
I mean, he sees it for what it is. He knows that he's screwed up and that he's in a terrible position. He actually doesn't know where he screwed up. I would tell him, you got unlucky in the first week and you got put up as a pawn. But he knows he's in such a terrible spot. He understands that he's in complete survival mode right now. It's just a matter of, like, survive to the next week when you have another opportunity to win HOH. And if you win HOH, that's your chance to potentially turn things around.
Oh, we can do that.
Change up the game. Then every single week, he's got to get to the next week. Maybe I can win. And it's just not working out for him because he's just not winning.
You stay here. Okay. All right, and then we get to our nominations. It's going to be Kevin. It's going to be David. We have one more conversation actually between Danny and Tyler. Mary, were you surprised when Tyler sits down with Danny? She says to him, "Do you want a donut?" Tyler says no.
It's never the right move to refuse anything that anyone
A letter from
ever
Janus
that was
to
really,
someone called
that's
Zoe.
not life advice. This is just
It looks
big
like a
brother advice,
draft,
guys.
and
Don't
is full of
just accept
explicit
anything that anyone ever
descriptions of
gives
how
you.
unhappy Janus is with
I don't
Zoe
know.
and his
I think
sister,
there's
having been
some
appointed chairwoman
trucks
of
with
the
some
Arts
people
Society.
offering kids candy that should
Yeah,
probably
that's true.
you should refuse.
Rob,
This
it
is
should
a
be
good
pointed
find
out,
for
these are
yourself.
vegan donuts.
Oh.
So hold on. I mean, I probably would not be clamoring for a vegan donut, but isn't that right up Tyler's
Okay,
alley?
so let's go ahead and
I thought you were gonna say
save.
that these were non-vegan donuts, and then you couldn't have them.
No. They are up Tyler's alley. The problem is that Tyler is wasting away, and he doesn't really have much of an appetite because his mental health has been deteriorating. And that's actually why she's offering him a donut. They cut this part out, but she says, please, you need to eat. Please take this donut.
You're wasting
Yes.
away.
And so,
Okay.
he does take it, and afterwards he says, thank you, it was delicious.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure I believe, but fine.
I thought they
Yeah.
looked good. I thought they looked like good donuts.
That's how they get you.
That's how they get the vegan donut. The first one looks good. Yeah. But Christian, if you go like for like a job interview and they offer you water, you're supposed to take it, right?
You always take it. It doesn't matter what it is, you take it.
Like if you're the host of something, yeah, and you say like, oh, would you like something to drink? I hate. It's always uncomfortable when there's just a bunch of no's. Like, but what I need to do something with my hands and my
Yes, practiced. No thanks.
A lawsuit between Janus and another resident. Might be a good place to start your investigation into Janus's life.
That did not like chocolate. It was very difficult for me, but you learn to say no.
There are
Do you need some help?
All right.
You
Well,
know what, friend? I could indeed use
yeah, I
some
think
help.
that you gotta
Very kind of you to
look,
ask.
even if you
People
just
in this
hold it, I
neighborhood
think
are
just
just
say
so
yes.
That's what I used
That's
to
what I
do.
really
And then
love.
I'm like carrying around
No problem.
chocolate
What
melting
do you
in my
mean?
pockets,
Well,
and I'm like, what is wrong with me? I am broken.
Look, I've been reading.
Say no.
I've been reading a. Well, I was just saying, I've been reading a book about some people who refuse food because they don't eat human food, and they might be vampires. It might be Twilight. This is just sounding very, very much like you're trying to hide something.
I think we're just gonna end here, actually.
You're declining all your food.
Let's go ahead and end here. We'll make 2 saves. One being a save for the episode, the other one being a save for whatever. Actually, I mean, really, we don't need to do it. Yeah, let's just make the one save. So I'll write this. But yeah, next episode we continue on. For now, thank you for watching.